The functions and the generators in the Python. A large program, it can be divided into number of modules, and these modules is known as functions. For example, if we have the single program having addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, we can break down this a single program into number of modules. Like single module will be created for the addition, single module will be created for the subtraction, single module can be created for the division and multiplication similarly. So here the function is the reusable block of code that performs specific task. Specific tasks like addition, subtraction, any of the functionality, if we are creating, that is a specific task, and we are creating separate module. And here the each function, like each module can be reusable multiple times. For example, if we have to calculate average of a functionality within the program, then we can utilize the sum modules as well. Readability, because here the code has been divided into number of modules. So instead of tracking all the codes with the single file, if we can make the changes in the code very easily. Only for in the we have to if there is an issue with the addition, then we have to go with the module like sum, track the where the actual bug or cause will be there, and we have to resolve those. Debugging will be there in particular module. So now how we have to define the function in the Python. So for defining any function in the Python, we have to use the keyword def to define any function. So firstly, the syntax will be def, keyword will be used, then we have to mention the function name, then some values will be passed within the parenthesis, and these values are called as a parameters. And we have to mention the return value here. Return function has a one more definition. Function always takes something and always return something. Whenever it takes some inputs, it will always be return some output. But return will be always be the final output will be there. Return like values, it will be the final outcome of the function. Now we are moving with the examples here. Like if we are defining any function, we have to use the def, and here we are displaying some string as output, and our function will not run unless we call it somewhere. So we have to call the function, greet function. Here it's calling the function, then it will be executed the code, and the result, the output will be produced hello world as an example. So it's an example of a function. One more example we can cover, like we have to define the def again with the function like addition, and we have passed up some parameters a comma b. Is these are the parameters which is passed with the definition of function. It can be treated as a parameter, and we are returning the final outcome of the result functionality a plus b, and the result, like within the variable we are now within the variable we are calling the function add a function by passing arguments. Whenever we are defining any function and passing the values, these are treated as a parameters. But when we are calling with their values by passing some values, then it will be treated as an argument. It will be passed because we are passing those values, that's why we can call it as an argument. So here we are passing value 10 to the value as a value of a, and 20 as a value of b. So the result will be the 30. In addition of the 10 and 20, it will result into 30. Now I will talk about the what are the types of the function. What are the types of the function available in the Python? So here these are the functions are built-in function. They are already made by the code developers. code developers are there who has already made this function. It is not defined by the user or developers. It's the code developer functionality. So we can directly use to calculate the length of an elements array object. We can calculate sum. We can calculate maximum, like highest element of any array. We can calculate minimum. It's opposite to the maximum, like lowest value of an element can we can calculate print to display some output in the output, and type to get the type of the variable. So for example, I'm going to take the example. We are making the variable where we are storing some array as an input. These are the elements 10, 20, 30. So we want to print length of that array elements, length of a array, whole array. So here the output will generate to as a 3, because 3 elements are present, so output will be 3. And here if we are calculating the sum, then it will be result into the 60, because 10, 20, 30 will after the addition it will result into the 60. These are the predefined built-in functions. Now I will go towards the user-defined functions, which we can implement, like a square function. Similarly, we have to use the def keyword here, and we have to return the final outcome of the function. So return keyword we have used. Lambda function, similarly, we can go with the lambda function also. It's also user-defined, and after the multiplication it will result into the 25 if we are passing its values. Okay, so next is positional arguments. Now I'm calling about the arguments. What are the arguments? When we are calling any function, if these argument values are in the number, then it will be considered as a positional arguments. If it is a number, then we can say it as a positional argument. And if it is in the form of the key value here, and we are calling the function, invoking the function, then it will be considered as a keyword argument. Key values form, if the arguments are in key value form, then it will be treated as a keyword argument. If it is in the numbered form, then it will be considered as a positional argument. Next, default argument. If we are calling the function, and we have already within the definition, we are with along with the parameter, we have mentioned some values there, then it will be treated as a default argument to the function. Here, for example, here name equal to guest as a default argument. Although we are passing here value, but the result will always be already it has the value of the guest, so it will be result into the hello guest. So next variable length arguments. What are those arguments? So we have to again define the function name and return the final outcome. It will like total numbers, whatever the number we have to total, and return some. We have to calculate the numbers of the total instead of addition manually. We are utilizing the predefined or built-in method sum for calculating the addition of the result. So print total, we are calling here the function, and we are passing as an argument these values. So it will result into the sum of the all the numbers, total of the all numbers. Keyword variable arguments here. You can see here also we are passing some default arguments here. Default arguments in the info we are calling. Okay, so we have to print the same that info, whatever the info of the details we have to print. So details has the values in the argument. These are the values, so it will be printed in the after calling the function, it will print the same result. So these are the topics with the related with the uh, functions. Now, what are the interview questions mainly asked during the interview in the Python related? So, different like what are the difference between parameter and argument? First, the definition. I told you that the parameter always the values which has been passed in the parenthesis while defining any function with the def keyword, then it will be treated as a parameter function name before the function name we use the def keyword. If we are calling the same defined function using some values in the parentheses, these are treated as an argument. Simple. Here we are defining addition and we are passing some values, and here we are calling the function and passing the some values. These are treated as an argument. Can Python return multiple values? Second question is, can Python return multiple values? Yes, it can return multiple values. Uh, like I am defining calculate function returning 10 comma 20. Okay, so here we are calling calculate method again. Then it will result into multiple return values will be returned here, because it will in this way it will be calling again and again, so it will result in the multiple values as well. Yes. So next question is, are function objects in Python? Are function objects in Python? Yes. How? Whenever we are defining any function using the def keyword, like we are displaying it, so we can make the function to store into the variable, and these variables are treated as an object to call the function directly. From this value, it will call the greet function directly because it becomes the object of that function. Got it? The way we are creating the object, it must be noted here. Now, main thing from like similar functionality having and the similar functionality with the generators also. It's a unique or a special function that returns the iterator using the yield keyword. Here we use the special function. It's similar to the function because we are defining with the def keyword here also, but here the we use instead of return type we are using yield keyword for returns and iterator. Every step we are iterating, every iteration we returning here basically. Instead of using the return keyword, we use, and it then generates value one at a time. One at a time it will generate. uh, Previously, the function results returns the final outcome of the function, but it returns values one at a time. One at a time. So here, if we check the example, it has the value like we are defining the function numbers, where yield one, yield two, yield three is mentioned as an output, as a, to display the output for every iteration. It will result into the value will be displayed. So we are printing each iteration here, one, two, three. We are passing one, two, three as a yield, and it's result into displaying these values only. So what now one can ask, like, what is the difference between generator and function? What is the main difference between the generator and function? So here we can see like we are using the same keyword for defining the function and generator both demo. But here we are using with the function we are using return keyword, but here we are using the yield keyword. That is the main difference. Iteration. Infinite. What is the what we call as a infinite generator when it with the situation like generating infinite iterations. So when the condition becomes true, it will always generate the values in the infinitely. So we have to here we have to define the even function, and starting with the zero value while condition will be true, it will result into the and will be displayed, and we have to we are incrementing by two, like each even number will be displayed. So it will goes infinitely because we have mentioned the condition true for every, it has no false condition, so it never stop. So next method we use for defining like whenever we have the same step is there, we can use the next method as well for calling and displaying the values. Next method, memory comparison. If we compare the values while working of a generator and function, then the function has the ability to store values in the memory. But generator is always, instead of storing the values in the memory, it's always display the output. It's for every iteration, it's not going to hold any value in the memory. It displays the output. So here the normal function goes into the range that times. Generator also, but generators consume much less memory than the normal function. What are the interview questions we built here? Like ask here, what are generators? Why generators more efficient? Why it's efficient? Because they generate values only when required. When there is a required, then they generate the values instead of storing everything in the memory. Function store everything in the memory. After making the calculation, it displays the final output. But here in the generator, it is there, like it's only display when there is a requirement. It is not going to produce output every time. So in when because they generate values only when required, instead of storing everything in the memory. So main difference is return and yield keyword is there. Return ends the function, ends the working of the function. Yield pauses the function. Sometimes it's hold the execution and again it starts the execution. It returns. It will return the value once. It returns the values one. Yield returns the values, like generate the result multiple times. It can generate the result multiple times, but it can generate the values result at one time only. Memory intensive, like return will take the consumption of the memory will be consumed more than here. The consumption is very less. Memory efficient is there. Memory efficiency is very high. So, if we talk about some coding problems, so moving with the next topic, like coding, Python coding, hands-on programming with the Python coding. Yeah, most of the time we are asked these questions in the interview as well. So we have to reverse the string. For example, if we have the example Python and we want to reverse it, the string, so we what the steps we can do, like we have to call the function, we have to call this variable, and we can pass within the array scope resolution operator, like double colon minus one. It will reverse the string. It can reverse the string, and now the whatever the string will be there, it will automatically reverse. So we have to learn it by heart, like we have to call that variable, and then within the parenthesis, uh, big bracket, double colon minus one, we have to pass. We have to learn it by heart. Palindrome. Similarly, the case, it's also the reverse condition. We have to reverse here also. So similar condition will be followed. Palindrome and reverse string both are same meaning. So madam will be always, whenever we reverse the string, it will also come the madam. Okay, so here same thing is there, but from reversing and from original string, it if it matches the string after reversing it, then it is the condition of palindrome. Here we are reversing, but it's not matching with the original string. It's different. So now, one more question we asked in the interview as well. Fibonacci series. Fibonacci series, we have to use the loop concept. Like for loop, uh, we can generate the for loop. How much times we have to generate? 10 times. 10 times we have to generate. So I have written here, and we have to print, like we have to display each iteration. Print we have used, and a comma b is equal to b comma a plus 1. It's the Fibonacci condition. Then that it will be the always the addition of the previous ones. So Fibonacci series will be generated here. The condition we have to learn, like a comma b equal to b comma a plus b. It's the formula of the generating the Fibonacci series. Next question is like we have to print a number, prime number. We have to print the prime number. So number equal to 17. For example, I have taken the 17 as a prime number. Or if we loop into the range 2 comma num, like 2 comma 14, 17. In that range, if number is modular operator, like after divising the remainder will be 0. Module operator, here the percentage sign will be treated as a module operator, and it is used to check the result, like check the division result of the with the variable remainder. Basically we check the remainder, what will be the remainder after dividing it with the I will be any iteration value within the 2 and 17, and we are dividing it by 2, 2, or any iteration we are ending with 17. So it will result into the if it is the number will be not prime, then it will display the not prime, and it will break the code and come out from the program. And if it is prime, then it will display the prime number. Factorial. Now coming about the factorial we all know that it's a decrement of one, whatever the number mentioned, it will be decrement like 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It will goes to the decrement in the order of order by like one, decrement by one in the sequence order, and until it decremented to one. The last limit will be one value. So from in the range we have to calculate number 1 comma num plus 1. Matlab one incremented value will be there. So we have to calculate fact multiplied by uh, it's a short form of like it's concatenation of the expression fact equal to fact multiplied by I. Like we have to multiply I times 5, 4, 3, similar functionality we have to build, then factorial will be calculated. These are the formula to calculate make the coding problem easy. Count frequency, if we have to with a, we have the string given, already given, and we have the to calculate the frequency of letters which are repeated here. So in the text, if we see here, a has been repeated multiple times and n has been repeated multiple times, but how we can implement the logic to track these frequencies. So we have to define separately one object, and within the loop, each character in the text can be tracked, like within the object we are storing, we are picking the character from zero position to like last position, and then we are displaying the output. Similarly, this condition also can be done. And next question is removing duplicates. If we have multiple values and we want to remove the duplicates from an array elements, then what we can do, we have to use the set method. Set method is used to create the unique array elements. So if we are passing, it will result into the unique number, and if we want to convert it into the again as an array, then we have to pass it into the list method. It will generate into the new unique array elements. Now, when we are moving with the largest number, okay, largest number, so we have the predefined method, built-in method we have already as max function we can go with, and we have to pass to those variable of, like we have to pass the array. It will access the largest number from the elements directly. Sort dictionary, if we want to sort some dictionary in the dictionary order like ABC, in this order, so we have to use the sorted method, where data dot items method can be fetched, and it will be result into the sorting order of just like a dictionary. Lambda we have to pass, and this expression we have to pass. List compression, squares for x range, print squares. That is the list compression example. Return statement. So here we have checked so many example with the function return, and with the generator yield. We got the idea, like the final outcome when we are whenever the result return statement exists, a function within the function exit a function and sends a value back to the caller. Okay, so whenever we are returning the statement, it gives the final outcome of the function it returns, and who's it's it return who is calling the function, and whenever any function is calling, it gets the result as an output from the return keyword. And for example, here already we have it's a syntax, like function has been defined and its returning value. For example, example has been given here. So here I'm calling the function using multiply within the print method, print function, and we are passing 5 comma 4 as an argument. So here we are defining in multiply. Here the value result will be after the calculation. It will result to the calling method multiply. Here where 5 comma 4 has been result. It will whole function will be result will become its final value whatever it's returning, like 4 comma 5 comma 4 will be result into 20. Then the print method has a parameter, like 20 will be parameter and output will be displayed. Now next, multiple return values. The example of multiple return values here I want to check. So we are defining here the similar as function we have defined earlier as well, and we are passing some values to the key value in the key value form. Age, name, age has some value, and we are returning multiple values in the return statement, not a single outcome. We are returning multiple values as a single object. So here we can pass it in this way. Yeah, multiple variables can be returned as well. It's just a syntax to return multiple values. So here the details has been called, and it will result automatically result into the their values. Name will be stored John, and age will be stored as on 25. We are displaying here a name only, printing name only. It automatically result onto the output, like John will be displayed as an output. Now next, returning dictionary. For dictionary, if we have called some function like employee and we want to return some dictionary in the key value form. Dictionary refers to the key value form. Here only single object we are returning, but here we in the form of single variable we are returning, like single value will be returning here, displaying here John, or but here we want the output in the form of key value pair, name John, salary 50,000, 50 lakh, whatever it is. So it can also be displayed using the return statement. Basically, we are checking what are the different cases we can use the return type. Returning function. So not only key value pair, single variable, we can return whole function as well. So defining here, we have defined function, inner function, outer function, inner function, returning values, and return inner. Return inner refers to this function I am returning, inner function. So here, and we are calling the outer function. So outer function automatically call the inner function, and it will result into the inner function values there. Hello will be returned. Here we have stored into the function into the expression, and we are calling the function directly. So outer function will be called in the object from the object. What are the interview question can be made from this topics, like multiple, can a function have multiple return statement? Yes, it can be have the multiple return statement. It some inner function has the multiple return statement, and final function as a final function return can also be have. And what happens after return? After return, what will be happening? So execution stops immediately whenever the result generated using the return keyword, the function executes final return keyword. If we have a multiple return statement, then the final return keyword has been met, then the whole execution of the function will be stopped and the value will be passed to the calling function only. So a print statement never execute. like print statement will not execute if it is present after the return statement and final return statement. And if like in the value will be goes to the calling statement, the flow will be goes to the calling statement. So here, next topic is NumPy. What is NumPy? NumPy is a short form of an acronym of numerical Python. It's a library for high performance numerical computing and multi-dimensional array. So whenever we are working on the numerical computing or multi-dimensional array, we can use the NumPy library as well. It's a library basically, numerical Python. We can install the library using pip installation technique, and if we have to import numpy as similarly. So for example, I want to give the example here using the numpy. So we want to create an array. Suppose we want to create an array, so we have to utilize the numpy library. And for creating an array, we have just to define after utilizing the library numpy. So we can generate a dot array method, and values can be initialized. These values as a element can be initialized, and we can display the elements as well. If we want to create a 2D array, then we have to similar way, like array has been defined as a single dimensional array, multiple dimensional array, or multiple any type of array we can make. A shape can be we can track the shape as well, shape method, using the shape method. 2 by 2 single dimensional array or multiple dimensional array can attract zeros. We can use the zeros as well, zeros, like what are the elements present in the zeros position of the matrices. So we can track the zeros here. Ones, like what are the elements present in the one position of the array. So we can get here the values as well, 0 1 from one single dimensional, multi-dimensional, 0 1. So 2 comma 4 becomes the one's place element. Arrange, and arrange method we use. Arrange method is also there. Line space reshape. So, moving with the next mathematical operations, like if we have the array, suppose we have the array 1 comma 2 comma 3, and we want to some calculation over the array, like addition of the 5, then each element will be get added with the 5. Got it? And if we are multiplying with the two, multiplication with the two, then each element will be multiplied by two. And double star, and some confusion with the double star. I think it can be utilized as a power as well. So I'm not going to explain here. I have to check that example. Aggregation, like some working on some calculation with the array elements. We can use the predefined methods like mean, sum, max, min. These are the aggregation methods. We are calculating some calculation over the array elements, then we use the that functions aggregation. It comes under aggregation. Indexing, for indexing, like array 1, if we want some values in from their index, then it will be considered as an indexing. So 20 is the value present in the index 1, array 1, so we are displaying here. Slicing is just extracting elements from the array. So we are extracting some values from the array, so we are mentioning the passing their indices values. So 0 2, these values, if we want to fetch, then 10 and 30, then we can slice it in this way. Intro questions basically ask, why is NumPy faster than Python list? Why it is faster than? So NumPy is written in C language basically, and it's a continuous memory allocation, memory allocation, vectorized operations, and optimized mathematical function as well. So that's why NumPy is faster than the Python list. From more example, we can check how it is more efficient than Python list. Python list basically it's slower. and numpy array is faster. Different data types are allowed in the Python list, but NumPy arrays usually have the same data type. Same data type will be used every time. More memory, it consumes more memory. Consumption will be there, but it consume very less memory. Limited mathematical operations, we have to like we are limited to limit multiple mathematical operations. We have to limit it with some few mathematical operations, but it supported the vectorized operations as well. Multiple operations can be done using the NumPy array. So now moving with the next topic, pandas. What are the pandas? Definition: if we talk about the pandas, is also an Python library used for the data analysis, manipulation, and cleaning. It provides the main data structure like series and data frame. 1D labeled array and 2D labeled array both are here mentioned in the Panta. Now, series refers to the one dimensional array. Now, if we are talking about the one dimensional array, it's a series array. Data frame basically two dimensional array. We are treated as it as a label table. So, 2D label table are treated as a data frame. So here we have to install the library as well, import the pandas as well. So creating series, we have to use the series method and pass the array. And it will get data frame. We can with for the data frame, we have to pass in the key value from an array. The key will be there, and values will be must be an array. So it can be used as a data frame. It's also example. CSV, we have to pass some values, file name here for reading the CSV. If we want to get the first rows, then we have to use the head method, tail method to last row. First for getting the first row list, we have to use the head method, and last row list, tail method. Head, tail. Head is starting and tail is ending of the rows. Information info method we use, statics describe method we use, columns we have to mention the column name here. We are for getting the column details. Multiple columns, we have to mention the multiple column names here within the inverted comma and comma separated each columns. Filter, we have to mention the condition here. If we want to add a new column, then we have to mention in this similarly and their values. Drop column, if we want to drop some column, then we have to pass their column name and their axis as well, where it is represent 1 2 axis. Missing values, if there is value is not available, then we can use this way, like these methods can be used: is null, drop now, fill now. Group by we use for like creating the arrangement. Group by basically we use for the sorting purpose. uh, on the basis of department salary, we are sorting the details or records from the database. So here merge we basically we are merging some values within the array. So yeah, series and data frame. So it's a one D array, it's a 2D array, and it can be single column, it can be multiple columns. It might have multiple columns. Homogeneous or mixed data will be there. It's a tabular data. It's in the tabular form. It's in array form. Got it? So low and ilos, iloc. So label-based indexing, if we are talking about the label-based indexing, it's LOC, and ILOC will be integer-based indexing. Integer-based indexing, if you are doing. Uses row column names and uses row column indices. Here we are taking the names as a indices, and here the indices like numbered form we are using the label. What are the interview questions we built on this scenario? Like one, what is the main difference between append and extend? Append is like making an update within the given array. So here is the given array, and we are going to array sub array within the main array. Then it will be we have to use the append method. But if we want to change the existing array, or we want to add some more elements, then we have to go with the extend method. Got it? The main basic difference we can check. We are adding array, then array will be added as a subset array. But here elements will be added for extending. The output is in front of you all. So what is the difference between here is and double equal to? Is and double equal to, basically double equal to has been used for comparing the values of two variables. So here the values are true. A and B both have the same value, same number of elements, same elements are there. That's why values are equal. So it becomes the result will be true. But A is B, whether A is B or not. A is also an array. Here we are not talking about their elements. Here we are talking about their names. A is also B. Their names, due to their names are different, that's why we are considering as a, instead of checking its values or a type, we are checking it as a different object. A is different and B is different. So we are taking result is in the form of the false statement. Now, moving with the shallow copy and deep copy, it's very simple. If we want to copy something, a surface level copying of any object, then we have to use this. It will be treated as a shallow copy. If we want to nested level of copying of any object, then we have to use the deep copy. Simple copy method we use. If we want the deep copy of nested level elements, then we have to use the deep copy method. Simple. Copies only the outer object, surface level object or outer object, and nested objects are shared. It will be shared but not copied. Okay. Deep copy recursively copies all the nested objects. It will copy innermost level of objects as well, but creating completely independent copies. Okay, so yeah, these topics I have covered with all the examples of related with the Python, and we will cover more topics in the next video. Thank you for joining the video.